Hello everyone, today I'm going to be checking out LeYou, which is one of the many popular Ethiopian restaurants in the area. I've had Ethiopian food a couple of times in the past, and I absolutely loved it because of all the flavorful spices and just delightful goodness. Also, seems like every day now it keeps getting colder and colder, and I feel like Ethiopian food is just perfect for the cold weather because all of its spices and just everything just feels so comforting and will really warm you up. So let's go. I just made it here to the restaurant. I ordered a variety of dishes, some vegetarian and some meat, and I'm really looking forward to all the food. Before the food, they brought out some Ethiopian coffee, which is world famous, and it looks like it's served black. Wow, that Ethiopian coffee is so nice. It's much more mild and gentler than I was expecting. It's so warm and comforting, and I feel like it's the perfect way to start off a meal because it just warms up and gets your taste buds all excited. The first dish came out, which is an appetizer. This is the Sambusa, which is one of my favorite Ethiopian appetizers, and it's basically a crispy pastry filled with some sort of filling, and I went for the lentils. The Sambusa comes with a little bit of dipping sauce, but I'm gonna go ahead and try it plain first.
Okay, so for the people who are here for my aunt.
Wow, that is really nice. I love the outside of that Sambusa. It's really light and airy and crispy. And on the inner lentil filling, it starts off pretty mild, but then as you eat it, the spice kind of builds up, and it's actually pretty spicy, but I love it. And now I want to try it with that dipping sauce. Here we go. It looks like it's some sort of creamy and spicy sauce. Wow, that is spicy. It will definitely light a fire inside of you, and already I don't feel cold anymore because of how spicy that sauce is. At first it starts kind of mild because it's like a yogurt sauce, but then as you eat it, it just turns into a fireball. Now I'm going to be going for the other appetizer I ordered, which is the katkana, which is a toasted injera appetizer, and I love the presentation since it's just on a huge wooden platter. I'm looking forward to this because I love injera, which is the staple flatbread that comes with all Ethiopian main courses, and typically you eat injera by dipping it in your food and just eating it and using it as a serving utensil, but for this it's just an appetizer and you can eat it just as is. Oh, this is nice. Immediately, I love the texture because it's really crispy and light and airy. It's almost like a chip. And again, it is a little bit on the spicy side because you eat it. At first, you get like the warm, toasted flavors of spices, which are really earthy. But then, again, as you chew it, it just gets spicier and spicier. And already now, my mouth is kind of starting to water. And I think I do need to get a little sip of water to go with this. The good news is it also comes with a little bit of yogurt sauce on the side for dipping, so I think that's definitely going to quench some of the spiciness, so let's try that out. Look at that. That looks so deliciously smooth and luscious. That is delicious. The yogurt definitely cuts a little bit of spiciness, although I do think you might want to avoid this if you're not great with spice because it will definitely burn you up. I love the flavor of the injera itself, but it's really sour and it almost just reminds me of like a sourdough bread, which I love. They just brought out all my entrees on one platter, and wow, did they deliver on the presentation. I love how with Ethiopian food, they just serve all the dishes that you order on one platter on top of a giant injera bread, which I said earlier is an Ethiopian flatbread. What's great is they also give you a side of extra injera on the side, and the way you're supposed to eat all the dishes is you rip off a piece of the injera bread and then you use it as a serving utensil and just eat a little piece of the food with the injera. That way it's nice and flavorful, and it's also very important that you use your hands because that is part of the Ethiopian culture, is eating food with your hands. What's cool about injera is it's made with teff, which is a grain. So they use teff flour to make the injera, and then it's fermented, which gives it its really iconic sourdough-like flavor. And what's also great about it is it's super high in fiber, and it's actually quite healthy for you. So before we get any of our food, we're just going to tear off a large piece of our injera, just like so. And now we're just going to get a scoop of our first dish, which is the kiwat, and this is just a zesty, flavorful spice blend mixed in with ginger and garlic, and I decided to get beef with it, and we're just going to give it a dip, our injera, and then we're going to use it as almost like a spoon, and we're just going to give it a go. Oh, that is so nice. What I really love about the injera is it's actually not overly sour, so it doesn't obscure the taste of the kiwat, which I love. It's just juicy, tender pieces of beef that have been stewed, and the flavor of the sauce is so lovely. I really taste all the layers of flavors. At first, I taste all the fresh ginger and fresh garlic, and then I taste the richness of the spices. Definitely heavily toasted, but they're not overly spicy in terms of the actual heat. It's got a really earthy and sort of burnt and charred flavor, which I love. Now I want to go for a taste of the cold chickpea salad, which I got on the side, and I'm pretty curious about this one because I love chickpeas. Oh, that is really nice just to change up the flavor profile. It's a lot different since it's mashed. It kind of has a fun texture to it. It's almost like mashed beans in a way because you have a little bit of texture. But I love the flavor because it's very tangy and sour because you got the flavor from all the fresh lemon juice in there. And again, there's some more spices in here, but they're a lot more subtle. It also tastes some onion, so it just tastes very fresh and bright to kind of break up some of the flavors of the meat and stuff. Next, I'm gonna go for the alicha, which is this green sauce one here, and I got chicken with it. Oh yeah, this chicken alicha wat is my favorite. On the menu, it's called the Doro, and this is awesome because it's, again, completely different than all the other foods. The flavorings are different. The first thing I taste is the richness of all the fresh herbs in here, and what's noticeable is it doesn't utilize a ton of spices. It just tastes very fresh and flavorful because you get the tender chicken that's just falling apart in your mouth, tender. And then there's also a huge amount of butter in here, which is also really popular in Ethiopian cuisine, and the butter is just amazing. I mean, butter goes great with everything. Now I'm going to be moving on to my last two dishes, which are both the tibs. I got beef tibs and lamb tibs, both of which are some of my favorite dishes because I really love the idea of this since it's more of like a dry rubbed meat, and it's right up my alley, especially with some like stir-fried onions on the side. And I'm going to start off what I believe to be the beef tibs. Oh, that is delicious. I love this because they use tri-tip for it, so it's really rich and meaty, got so much high quality beefy flavor in there, and there's also a little bit of jalapenos lurking in the bottom just to surprise you with a little bit of heat. But I also really love the taste of the onions in there because they have such a satisfying crunch, and as far as the spices go, they sort of remind me of the first beef dish I had, really earthy and warm toasty spices. Finally, for my last dish is the lamb tibs. Oh yes, I like the lamb tibs even better than the beef tibs. What's really interesting about this one is I love the onions in here because they're really sweet and sticky and caramelized, which adds some really nice sweetness just to already the flavors of the toasted spices and stuff. And what's also interesting about this that I didn't notice with the beef one, but is also in the beef one, is they put a little sprig of rosemary on top. So if you get some of the meat that's sitting next to the rosemary, you get that iconic sort of fragrant flavor, which actually goes really well with this. I mean, all of these dishes are winners, but the lamb is definitely one of my favorites. Overall, this was an incredible meal. I know I barely made a dent in it, but I'm gonna have plenty of delicious leftovers because I think everything was very well made. My two favorite entrees were the chicken alicha wat, just the chicken in a green sauce because I thought it was so flavorful with all the herbs and butter. I loved that. And then the lamb tibs was also great, just with all those delicious onions in there. As far as appetizers go, I recommend the coconut or the toasted injera if you can handle your spice because it is very strong and spicy. I mean, my mouth is watering right now just thinking of how spicy it is, but it is so darn delicious if you can handle the heat. If you're looking for a highly rated Ethiopian restaurant, definitely check out LeYou Ethiopian. I think you're really going to enjoy their spread of food, and it's just such a fun dining experience as well. Anyways, as always, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did, give a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.